Molo Sanbonani, hello, how's it? Good morning to this, the Wednesday edition of Vuka Nazo, your morning news analysis show. My name is Sihle Ngobese, aka Big Daddy Liberty. Remember, if you love the show and you like the content, well, do me that favor. Hit the like button, whether you're watching this simulcast on Facebook or on YouTube. Another thing you can do for us, of course, is if you're watching on YouTube in particular, is to smash that subscribe button. That's right. Become a part of the nearly 40,000 now. There's about 38,800 plus of you who are subscribers on the Big Daddy Liberty channel on YouTube. Subscribe, please. And as I said, hit that like button. A reminder also that we have a website, especially for those of you who want to contribute to the show financially. As little as 100 Rand a month, you can find us on our website at bigdaddyliberty.com. A payment method that suits you is on our website. Now, with that jibber jabber out the way, let's get straight into the news. All right, the saga, folks, of these ongoing coalition party politics, the fracas around them continues. This time I bring you to KZN, of course, where the latest development is the EFF. Yes, that's right, those red in tooth and claw, filthy commies who are effectively led by Julius Malema, effectively doing what most backstabbing parties do best, which is to go back on deals that they've made with other political coalition partners. Now, why do I frame this way? And you can clearly tell I'm not a fan of this particular move by this party. Well, because of what I also tweeted yesterday, which clearly, what we've seen from these coalition party politics and the fracas and the messiness of them is twofold. There's two types of political party in this country. There's the one who are stable, generally speaking, are built on systems within the party, have focused on building stable institutions for decision making in their parties. Now, these parties are quite a few of them are like this, whether it's the DA, Action SA, IFP, we can go down the list. You know, these are quite well-established parties that have strong systems within them and are generally stable when they enter into these coalition agreements. Then there are parties who are not. They're the exact opposite. They're built on personalities. They're built on a certain charismatic individual, an individual who can make decisions on the whim. One minute he believes this, the next minute he believes that, or an individual who's just simply, and will tell you, he's in it for power. That's it. Not for voters, not for the well-being of South Africans, just in it for power. And individuals who are like that are not conducive to making decisions and sticking with them. Those individuals and those parties often are fly by the seat of their pants type parties, and we're expecting as voters that these two types of parties are going to enter into coalitions and are not going to disappoint us. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Well, again, the distinction between those two types of parties that I speak of is playing itself out in this situation where the EFF has backstabbed the IFP, basically ditching it on Friday with party leader Julius Malema calling the party apartheid collaborators, as he effectively demanded that all the deputy mayors who were in that agreement with the IFP, in coalition governments, resign immediately. Now, he basically is quoted in the Citizen piece as having said the following. Malema accused the IFP of refusing to change, labeling them as, quote, apartheid collaborators. He's quoted as having said, "Here and now, we say without any fear of contradictions, all our deputy mayors under the IFP must resign with immediate effect, and we're no longer working with the IFP. We thought that the apartheid collaborator has changed their spots, but it is very clear they're not ready to change. The IFP must not get anything where we are involved. Where you see the ugly head of the IFP, put it aside." This is, of course, Malema being quoted on Saturday, speaking, end of quote. Now, the IFP has responded, of course, to this development, because you'd expect they should. This places, of course, the 26 municipalities that were hung, that the IFP eventually won, having had the EFF as a coalition partner, at risk, you would expect. So, of course, the IFP responded to this and, of course, other accusations. The party leader of the IFP, Hlabisa, having quoted as being said this in this Mail and Guardian piece on Monday when they held a press conference in response to the Julius's utterances and these developments. The party, that's the IFP, had reversed the electoral losses it sustained in 2011 in subsequent local and provincial elections, taking back control of 26 municipalities, some of them hung, as well as clawing back provincial votes in the 2019 poll. Now on Monday, IFP President Hlabisa told a media briefing in Durban that the agreement had collapsed because of an EFF demand for the mayorship of Hlabisa. Now Hlabisa is Richards Bay, if you're wondering, in return for giving the IFP the mayorship of Mogale City in Gauteng as part of a multi-party agreement with the ANC. That's right, you heard that right. The EFF has gone back to the ANC. It's looking to be in bed with the ANC, which puts paid any myth that the EFF is an opposition party. You guys know this. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The EFF is but merely an extension of the ANC. They are another faction of the ANC, and that all the pretense that Umalema had used to gain support of being an opposition party was always a smokescreen. It's fake. But let me continue reading. Now, Hlabisa said that the IFP had refused to agree to this. It refused to go back into bed with the ANC. Now, he's quoted as saying the IFP was categorically clear that it would not hand Hlabisa over to the EFF, as this would be a betrayal of the trust and confidence placed in the IFP by the people of Hlabisa, Hlabisa said. He goes on as quoted as being saying, "We informed the EFF that we would not enter into any coalition agreement that was inclusive of the ANC." End of quote. Now, of course, the IFP leader is absolutely spot on. Why? Because he's actually an opposition leader and doesn't want to give back power to the very people who we as voters, generally speaking, had given a clear indication we don't want in government. So if anything, the IFP is holding on to the principles, the morals, and the promise it made to voters of keeping the ANC out of power. Unlike the EFF, which, as I said, 1 minute will believe this, oh, we're an opposition party, they say. Oh, we shouldn't let the ANC govern, they say. And then the next moment, Julius wakes up and says, oh, well, everybody else is a party collaborator, the DA is racist, Action USA is this, blah, 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 blah. Let's give power back to the ANC. They are in it for power, patronage, and resources only. That is what makes the EFF and other parties like it simply untrustworthy on this issue. And the IFP is quite right in exposing the situation, especially because the IFP clearly put the EFF to the test. I'm going to read a section here which explains perhaps how the IFP exposed how the EFF are not an opposition party, because on Tuesday, as we speak, as I'm recording this on a Tuesday, there is a motion of no confidence vote being placed against current Durban Mayor, ANC man, Mxolisi Kaunda, and the opposition parties have been in conversation, of course, around what a post-ANC Durban will look like. Just a reminder for those who've forgotten that Durban is effectively a hung metro insofar as the 2021 electoral results of the local government elections, where the ANC only mustered 40% of the vote and then proceeded to allegedly bribe and buy its way into gaining the support of some small opposition parties. It's those small opposition parties now who are looking to band together to kick the ANC out and put them into opposition benches. This, of course, needed the support of the EFF, to which case, as I mentioned, the IFP tested the EFF in the following way. It offered them the mayorship of Durban. Yes, that juicy seat. Offered them the mayorship of Durban with, of course, other key positions being split amongst other opposition parties. You'd expect that the EFF, wanting to show that it can govern, wanting to show that it doesn't like the ANC, would have taken that deal. But did it? No, it didn't. Let me read on. Now, as I mentioned, Hlabisa said his party had offered the EFF the mayorship of Durban, where a vote of no confidence in incumbent Mxolisi Kaunda is set to take place on Tuesday. In return, of course, for backing an opposition coalition in removing the ANC. He's quoted as having said the EFF rejected these proposals, indicating that their deal, the EFF deal with the ANC, would proceed with or without us. Adding that the EFF's instruction to 8 deputy mayors, that's deputy mayors, of course, in these IFP-run municipalities, the EFF's instruction for them to resign would not cost the IFP all of the councils. End of quote. So the IFP coming out quite strongly here and saying, actually, we're sticking to principles. And in doing so, we've also exposed the EFF as being not interested in governing outside of the ANC's ambit. The IFP have done something here which perhaps other political parties haven't, and really exposed who the stable, trustworthy political parties are versus the ones that simply aren't. And kudos to them. If I'm ever going to give any kudos to politicians, it'll be in this particular instance. Because you guys know my general view about politicians. Hashtag politicians are trash. But I must give kudos to the IFP, pardon me, in this instance, of basically showing you, the voter, what's at stake here, and allowing you, the voter, to make an informed decision the next time you vote. It's up to you, dear voter, especially if you're a KZN voter. You have your marching orders. You now know that your vote is between two types of parties that are much like the IFP, who hold on to principles, make a promise, and effectively try to keep it even when faced with a great risk of losing power in a lot of their municipalities that they govern, versus the other types of party who are only interested in this because of what their leader says 1 minute and then what they say on the other, or only interested in this because of power and effectively positions and patronage. Those are the two options you have as a voter. So that, as I always say, I'm apolitical. I don't tell people who to vote for, but in this instance, there's clearly two options, and you, dear voter, have to choose wisely. All right, that's it for this morning, folks. I had to do just one story this morning because you can tell that it's one which speaks to providing greater context, greater analysis around these terrible coalition party politics that we're seeing at the moment in the country. We'll catch up with other stories in tomorrow's episode and subsequent episodes. If you enjoyed this, of course, please, I'd really like your feedback on this one in the comment section, especially because a lot of you live in these hung municipalities and are enduring the shenanigans of these coalition governments. What's been your experience so far? Have you seen service delivery? Have you seen stable governance? I'd really like your view on this. So make sure, please, you drop a comment whether you're watching this on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube in particular, subscribe to the channel, and of course, regardless of where you're watching, hit that like button. And guys, with that being said, find us please on our website at bigdaddyliberty.com. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of Vuka Nazo.